This episode of the Opie Radio Podcast, sponsored by Hawthorne.co. We're talking about your personalized self-care routine. Hawthorne, Hawthorne, Hawthorne.co, promo code OPIE. That's Hawthorne.co, promo code OPIE.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pat Duffy.
Nice.
This is Tippy Tom's underwear. This is Tippy Tom's underpants mustache.
Oh, mighty.
Oh, fuck! No way! Oh, fuck! Oh, shit!
Do it. Yeah. Oh my God. I can't wear these guys. I can't.
Holy shit.
Wow, you alright, Pat?
I'm alright, yeah.
That tops anything.
Fucking Duffy.
That tops anything I've seen anybody ever do, ever.
Oh, my God. All right, well, there's a jump cut because I'm an idiot. I was in the middle of a rant, and all of a sudden my recording device that Carl used to make fun of, I ran out of batteries because the other day I did a live stream from my window here at the ocean, and I left this thing on all day, and I knew I was talking to you, Pat Duffy, and I saw one bar, and I'm like, I do shorter episodes these days, so that should be okay. And then right in the middle of a rant, the thing goes off. So maybe it's best that that the thing went off in the middle of that rant anyway.
No, I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm out in the garage, and I got the baby monitor with the little one, and the battery chime started going off. So I turned around to shut it off, and I came back, and I didn't hear you, and I was like, did I walk too far away because I got the AirPods on? I'm like, what happened? And then I thought you were messing with me.
Right.
Like, I was like, no, I was expecting to hear ping pong any second.
It'll drive everybody else nuts because it was right in the middle of a good rant. But you know what? I think I'm just going to let it go. Screw it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? That's too good.
It's all right.
It's all right.
We're still learning here.
Yeah. One of these days, I'm going to be a professional broadcaster, hopefully. So. I don't know. Any other thoughts or memories from your time with Opie and Anthony?
There's a million memories, even like little dumb stuff. Like when we had the live audience in, I used to use the people's entrance forms to like meet girls. Cute girls would come in every once in a while. Most of them weren't cute.
Right.
But like you'd come in and like they'd give me all their information, which included their name, phone number, and email address.
Yeah.
And then like back in the day, I'd look up their MySpace and add them as friends, and it'd go from there. And I can't tell you, like, that's why I kept saying, don't worry about apologizing to me, because I used the show to get laid probably 100 times.
Yeah, there you go. So you owe me. So in the end, you owe me. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
No, I'd say we're even.
We used to do in radio what was called the drive-by, because we didn't have social media when I started in radio, and when you were doing these boring overnight, late night shifts, the girls would call, and you would just start talking and flirting with them and stuff, and then they not all, but from time to time they wanted to meet you after the shift, and they'd be in the middle of nowhere towns, because this was all up in the Rochester area, Buffalo area,
right,
and they're like, meet me at the 7-Eleven, and I'm like, all right, and then I go, what kind of car are you driving? You got to remember, it wasn't social media, and they would tell me what car, and they go, well, what kind of car are you driving? I would be like, a black pickup truck, and they're like, okay, I'll be waiting and looking out for the black pickup truck. They don't know what I look like, And obviously, I was in my just stupid Honda Accord hatchback with over 100,000 miles on it, because now I could drive up in my Honda Accord hatchback to see what this thing looked like. And a lot of times, I can't tell you that I just kept it driving. I would slow down a little bit. I would see, there she is in her, outside her vehicle, and she's looking around for a black pickup truck and has no idea that the Honda Accord that went by her at like 5 miles an hour was me checking out the scene. And then I would split, and then the next day on my shift, they're like, "Oh, whatever, what happened to you?" And I'd be like, "Oh my God, I was on my way and I got a flat tire," and come up with some dumb excuse instead of saying, "Well, I actually drove by and I saw that you were a monster, and I decided that it was best to just keep driving." So,
oh my God,
at
least I had MySpace. But like you and I, guys like us, like we missed the whole Tinder and all that, like that whole generation, we missed it. Like I work with guys who go on Tinder and they're like, within like 3 messages, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll eat your ass." And then they just go do it,
Yeah.
and it's just like, okay.
But man, Pat, I miss you. It was good catching up and getting some of these stories out. We were only touching the surface, really.
Oh, I appreciate it. And you know what? It's amazing that like people have been asking for me to be on here.
Yeah.
Like they don't forget.
No.
And it's like I have we got sent home from work because of COVID. Like I work with a crew of 8 guys. Yeah. And 3 guys got it. 3 guys got it.
Jesus.
So they shut us down. They sent us home.
Yeah.
So now we're like we don't work from home because I can't do that, but we're like on call, and so I have like ample time to like check out your live streams and stuff. And I'm usually like one of the first people in there.
Yeah.
And like I'll get in there and I'll be like, "Good morning," and then like people are like, "Oh shit,
yeah.
Hey Pat," and I'm like, just calm down. You're not here for me.
I'm in a good place. I used to be really famous. I used to make a shitload of money. And I can honestly say both those things for a long time didn't really make me happy. And I know that sounds so fucking stupid to say because that's the dream of many, many people. But I have more fun now, man. And I'm not making any money anymore. That's why I beg for the stars on the Facebook page. I did well for myself, but I still got bills to pay and things to worry about. And I don't know. I'm just happier, though. And if people don't like it and they want to run back to Anthony or whoever, who gives a fuck, man? I know I'm just enjoying the hell out of myself and what I do. And it's and after Vic died, I was like, now what? Really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now what? I went through the O&A years. A ton of those years I was not happy, and I was doing it for the money and the fame. Finally got past that. Met Vic Henley and Sherrod Small and Chris DiStefano and, of course, Carl. And it was an easy group of people. It was the polar opposite, by the way, of the O&A years. And Carl would come to me. He's like, "Jesus, these guys are shit-talking you in the office." I'm like, "Will it ever fucking end, man?" And I would go to some of these guys and I go, "Dude, we don't do that. We're not doing that. We're trying to do something, new here." And it continued pretty much up to my last day at SiriusXM. The toxicity was still there, unfortunately, except for the guys I was working with, because we would just go in there with no plan whatsoever and just enjoy the hell out of each other's company. And then Carl and Vic, go and then I'm like, now what? And I found these Facebook Lives with these people, and now I'm enjoying that, and that's all that matters.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah,
they're a lot of fun, and it's just you just kick back and you play with your dog shit, and it's a good time,
That was unbelievable.
No, I was like, I watched this whole thing unfold with this hairband and the shit.
Yeah. And
I'm just like, we're reverting back. Like, you need me in there.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I think the last stunt we did together was the freezing of the water outside SiriusXM with Who Kid. I think that was officially our last stunt we did. So we might have to.
Yeah, that was.
We might have to come out of retirement. We did a take on that bit where, the news programs, they show how cold it is outside and they throw water or whatever in the air and it freezes before it hits the ground. And we tried it on you and it didn't work. And you got splashed in the face with cold water on a very, very cold day. And that was the last thing we did together, man.
That was. And that was fun too, And that was like, that was the one and only time that I ever went to that new building.
Yeah.
And like Eric got me in, and like you were saying earlier, like it was like getting into Fort Knox. Like,
yeah.
It was a totally different vibe.
Yeah, it was too
totally
bad.
different vibe over there. And it was the one and only time I ever went there. That was fun though.
They got a lot of sticks up their asses over there. Unfortunately, you know, I was still being me in those hallways and stuff, and they hated all of it. I was thinking the other day that I started doing this little sideshow called the Elevator Show, where I would just take the elevator down to the lobby, and we would just do crazy shit in the elevator for the 2-3 minute ride down to the bottom, because we were like 50 stories up or whatever. So I got a whole drum kit in the in the elevator, and I just wanted him to just go fucking Neil Peart all the way down to the lobby with this drum kit as people were getting on. And by the time we got to the bottom, the doors open, security's there with their arms folded, and one of the guys that works at SiriusXM, I guess he's in charge of the equipment or something, he's scolding me in the lobby like, you should know better. What are you doing? Now get over here. Get out of the... Like he's my mom. Like yelling at us and grabbing the drum kit out of the elevator, and that became a problem with the company. I'm like, what's the big deal? For 2 minutes, we had a guy in the elevator. Well, they took the fun out of radio for real. You know?
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like you just can't have a little fun for a couple minutes.
No,
you know, it's ridiculous.
I tried to turn it around.
They shut us down, they confiscated our drums, and they kicked us out of the building.
Apparently, we made such a racket that everybody in the entire building was in a tizzy.
Are you saying that it was really loud?
It was really, really loud.
My favorite part of the talking to was the guy that said, on what planet was this a good idea? Would you like to answer that, Troy?
Planet Fun.
Planet Fun! I went into Howard's area live on Facebook, and that was obviously a who gives a fuck little prank while I'm doing Facebook Live, and that became a massive, massive issue. And that, I believe that was the reason, or the day I fucked up a very good salary and a very good spot in radio, because Howard never got over that. He was so mad that I went into his area. And as soon as the security guard said you can't be in there, I left immediately. But that wasn't good enough for that company, because they all really have sticks up their asses. They forgot that radio, satellite radio, podcasting, whatever the hell is the medium, this is just fun. This isn't a real job. You got a real job, Pat. I don't have a real job, and they made it so hard and complicated, unfortunately, and they took a lot of the fun out of it.
Well, you bring up my job. I'm actually really glad I work in the field I do, because like we have no corporate structure whatsoever. I mean, I'm a government employee, but I'm not a high level government employee, obviously. Yeah. And I work with a crew of 8 guys, and 7 out of the 8 guys are some of the funniest dudes you'll ever meet.
Yeah, of course.
And we literally just joke around and all day.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing ever. Like, and it's a great time, and I'm so glad I don't have to deal with any of that. Like, we could have drummed on an elevator all day. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. It's so interesting you say that, because if you're looking for it, there are so many people in this world that are really, really funny, and they're not seasoned comics. And I always loved finding those guys. There's a lot of comedians out there that can be funny on a stage, but as soon as they get off that stage, they're duds. Absolute fucking duds. And a lot of them are, by the way. A lot of them.
Yeah.
And then, with your job, or me when I'm fishing on the beach with some of these old school fishermen, they crack me up all day long. They're hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
The old man jokes.
Yeah.
The old man jokes are the best.
Yeah, but these comedians, they're like, well, if you haven't been suffering in this fucking business for 15 years, then you're not funny. I'm like, you're crazy, man. There are guys out there that are way funnier than you. They just don't have the skills, and they haven't structured it in a way to become stand-up comedians. But really funny. The people that hit me up on the Facebook Live every morning, the stuff they say beyond funny. beyond funny, and they're just regular people.
No, there are guys on that live stream, like that guy Butter.
Yeah,
like he gets off lines that I will legitimately laugh out loud. Like,
yeah,
and people are just throwing shit off all the time, and like every once in a while, even if it's just like your little live stream, like I'll think of something. I'm like, that's not funny enough for this room.
Wow.
And it's like just sometimes I'm like, and I'll throw shit out all the time.
Yeah.
But like it's just like and I'll get like a like, and I'll feel good about myself. Like I'm glad you're doing it because there was a time when you got fired and you weren't doing anything.
No.
And and it's not like it's that we didn't know what we were missing at the time.
Yeah.
But like I'm glad you're doing what you're doing now because it's keeping it's keeping the whole thing going, and it's a good time. Like there's a majority of the people that are also like on my side when the whole thing blew up that they stuck more with your side because, people related more to you like myself, and we're happy to see it keep going.
Yeah. I never wanted sides, to be honest with you, but I appreciate the people that support me and stick up for me. I just want the whole story out there. For the longest time, I just let everyone else punch themselves out. I'm like that. Half the stuff I would come back to me. I'm like, that's just not fucking true, man. It's not true. So I'm starting to, slowly but surely get more of my side out there. But yeah, when I was let go at SiriusXM, I fell into a deep depression to a point where my wife's like, I got to get a shaman. I'm like, I'll try anything. and the reason is because I was so unhappy with the Opie and Anthony show at the end. And then, Anthony did what he did and whatever. I'll get into that again another day. But trust me, I sleep well at night knowing what I did for Anthony, for Jimmy, for Sam, for Eric, and the rest of them. I sleep very well at night. I wasn't perfect, but I know that I did right by all those guys in the end. Simple as that. So then he gets let go. I'm fortunate enough to build another show that was taking off. And I really believe because of that Howard incident, and Howard way more powerful than I ever was at SiriusXM, obviously, I lost that. Right. Simple as that. And they're like, but I don't even know if they knew I had a really good show going at the end there. I have no idea, to be honest with you. And then they yanked that. They get rid of me. I lost, a tremendous salary, but it wasn't about that. It was more about, oh my God, I finally got back to being happy doing what I love that I started doing at a very early age in my life. Yeah. And that was now yanked away from me. And I'm like, I just said, fuck it all. And for like 8 months, I was just laying around at this beach house fishing and just laying on the beach, kind of lost, to be honest with you. And then, Tim Sabian called me because they were pumping up the podcasting at Westwood One, and he's like, I need you. And I'm like, podcasting? I'm like, now I love it. I absolutely love it. No bosses. I don't need to deal with anyone's horse shit at all. Not this guy talking about this guy, and this guy's getting fired for doing this, and I have to go march down the hall to the offices and try to save another person's job while Anthony goes, well, I'll see you tomorrow, Hope. And I'm like, what do you it says Opie and Anthony. He's like, yeah, but you love doing this stuff. I'm like, I don't love doing this stuff. When I first brought Anthony aboard, I was the radio guy. So naturally, I knew way more than him. So I took a lot of that on. But there was a time where I didn't love doing any of that stuff. And I could have used the help. Take later. I'm like, but Bob, our agent's flying in from L.A. He wants to have lunch with us. Tell me what he says. And then instead of being home with my wife and my family, I'm doing a 2-hour breakfast with our agent who was kind of boring, to be honest with you. As Anthony goes off and just he figured all he had to do was clock in for the show. And as soon as the show was over, he was out of there and didn't deal with any of this other horse shit. Sorry.
Well, I'll tell you.
Sorry. No, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And then you wonder why maybe, I was frustrated over the years.
I'll tell you this: that afternoon show was something else. It was a good time. When they moved you to afternoons, I was looking forward to it, and I was happy about it because I forget what time you went on. I think it was 3:00, but I would get out of work at 4.
Yeah,
and I would turn the radio on. You guys would already be going.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like already rolling. And it would take like 5 minutes to understand what you guys are talking about, and then I'd be in. Like, in my whole ride home, I was like, this guy's having a good time, finally.
Oh, it was unbelievable. And people were laughing at my jokes when they were obviously funny, and there was no egos, and we were all just having a good time, and we all knew we were getting our lines out and this and that. And it was deeply depressing when that show went away. And then the guys that were a big part of my life and my professional life, they die on me. But I think, to be fair, I think why that show worked was that in the beginning, me and Anthony did get along for a quick 2, 3, maybe 3 years out of our 20-year run. We actually got along. And at that point, we were both so focused on making the best radio show possible, and we really didn't have any staff. And I think that was kind of important to the whole thing. It was light. It was easy. We had like maybe an intern and kind of a assistant producer. And the O&A thing, that universe got incredibly out of control. There were security guards. There was like, at one point, I think we had 10 or 12 guys working behind the scenes. Some of the guys, I didn't even know what they did, to be completely honest with you. They just kept hiring more guys, and then they would splinter off and badmouth me or badmouth Jimmy or badmouth Anthony. Trust me, they all got badmouth, not just me.
Oh, yeah.
They thought Jimmy
was there. I know.
They thought Jimmy was a fucking nightmare, and he was the one they were truly scared of.
Oh, yeah. No, I was there. And on a side note, you know what I could never stand? And you're talking about guys talking shit about each other behind their back.
Yeah.
I could never stand the blatant disrespect for Steve.
Yeah.
And like Steve was the guy in charge.
Yeah.
He was the boss.
Yeah.
And like that guy would leave the room and everybody would be like, he's a fucking idiot. I can't believe he's so dumb. He's so stupid.
Yeah.
And then Steve would walk back in the room. And they'd be like, oh, that's a good idea, Steve. We should maybe do it this way or whatever. And I remember just being like, because I'm just a guy like, cutting up replay or whatever. Like, I'm just supposed to be in the background, but I'm listening to everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like blown away. I'm blown away. Like, there was no unity.
No.
Whatsoever.
No, they were
like,
all. I could describe it like this because I'm a fisherman and I live at the ocean. So when you get like a bucket of crabs, they're all fighting to get to the top of the bucket, and they will push the other crabs down. They'll take a claw and smush the other crab's face just to get leverage and get higher in the bucket. That was the O&A world right there.
Oh,
Simple as that.
Absolutely. It was Lord of the Flies.
And you want to know something about?
It was every man for himself.
You want to know something about Steve? And I'll say this. Lovable guy, worked his ass off, another soldier, did so much for the Opie and Anthony, world. And everyone knows what he did for the show. So he dies tragically. And why don't you take one wild guess who went to his wake? One wild guess.
I mean, I'm going to say it was Sam.
No, God, no.
Obviously, I know that's not true.
Oh, okay. Out of everybody that worked on the Opie and Anthony show, and there were a lot of people, 2 people showed up for Steve. 2. For his grieving wife and family and friends. 2 people.
Now I'll give you a real answer. If you say 2 people,
yeah.
I know it wasn't you and Anthony. I would imagine it was you and Eric.
Yes, 100%.
See, I knew it.
We were the only 2 that thought it was worthwhile to go to Steve's wake. So fuck those guys and all the horseshit they throw at me. That's just one of many things, and I've never said that out loud. And I don't want a pat on my back, but when people are trashing me left and right with all this garbage out there, Steve dies tragically, and no one could be bothered to take the ride to go to his wake except me and E-Rock. We drove to fucking together, and there was a lot of silence in the car because we were really sad, and a few tears were shed that day. That was it.
Yeah.
So how about you add that to the fucking story, people?
Oh man!
Like enough already.
Serious here.
Enough. Well, now you know why I didn't. I've been blowing off talking to you because I know that it brings back a lot of this stuff, and I try to tell people. I try to tell people I'm past it, and what will happen. People will listen to more episodes of the podcast and they'll realize, oh yeah, okay, he dipped in again. He's back moving forward, and that's all you could do with your life.
It's, like you think about that ex-girlfriend every once in a while. It just comes up. I get it.
Oh my God. People go get back with Anthony. That would be like going back to like an ex-girlfriend. Oh my God. I would have cold sweats. I'd have fucking cold sweats. Are you kidding me?
No, the first time you fuck would be great, and then you'd realize why you hated the person.
Well, no.
It's how it goes.
I'll get back to Pat Duffy in a second, but I've been thinking about making some personal changes lately. I wanted to start by improving my self-care routine. The problem, I had no idea where to start. Then I found Hawthorne, Hawthorne, Hawthorne.co. Use the promo code OPIE, OPIE. Hawthorne is a premium tailored personal care brand that's making it easy for guys to feel and smell their best. How they personalize it, by the way, you go to their website, you start with a very easy quiz. They ask you stuff like your hair type, is your skin oily, is it dry, what do you like to do in your free time, do you smoke, do you drink? And then they take all the answers and then they tailor products perfectly for you, my friends. It was really, really easy, and I gotta say, kind of fun too. The products I got after taking the quiz, I got a new shampoo, I got a new conditioner, I got a face lotion, and I got a really nice smelling cologne. And I'm thinking to myself, how did they know that I would like this cologne? And I'm like, oh, that's right, I took the quiz. So if you want to upgrade your self-care routine, Hawthorne is a fun and convenient way to get super high-quality products tailored specifically for your needs. Hawthorne even takes the risk out of it by giving you free shipping on your order and returns. And if you don't like your products, they'll even retailer them for you based on your feedback. Why don't you do what I did? Take Hawthorne's quiz today and get started on your personalized self-care routine by going to Hawthorne.co. Use the promo code OPIE to get 10% off your first purchase. That's Hawthorne.co. Hawthorne.co, Hawthorne.co, promo code OPIE. All right, I have time for one more. I want to talk about Manscaped.com. Use the promo code OPIE. Manscaped has been with the podcast since the beginning, and I really, really appreciate them. And I just found out that they're going to continue in 2021. So thank you to Manscaped.com. Listen up, fellas. 2020 just sucked. Look, I understand you let yourself go in 2020, but with Manscaped, you could get out of quarantine with nice shaved balls. They got the perfect package 3.0 that has all the right tools for the job. Like the Lawnmower 3.0, this waterproof and skin-safe trimmer will reduce nicks to your two best friends. It's also time to freshen up down there this new year. The Crop Preserver is an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You'll already put deodorant on your armpits, so why aren't you putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? Manscaped even threw in their Shed travel bag to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. Speaking of comfort, the Manscaped anti-chafing boxer briefs are also included and are hands down the best underwear you will ever wear. A guy with hairy balls is like the year 2020. Don't be that guy. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code OPIE at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off free shipping with the code OPIE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code OPIE. And Happy New Year to you and your balls. So after Ant got fired, we started doing phone calls a little bit, after a couple years went by. And my thought was, it's smart. We could maybe try to keep the O&A brand alive. I'm certainly doing something very different. He's doing something very different, and we certainly have grown apart. But there was still chemistry, and it made sense when I was doing afternoons again that it was time, and he was doing afternoons. So I'm like, he's working now, I'm working now. So every once in a while, let's do a phone call. And we did 5 or 6, and I put one on the podcast recently because it made sense because I was walking through the whole Howard Stern thing I did, entering his area without permission. And then it turned out like Anthony, Joe DeRosa, Rich Voss, and Craig Gass, they all busted my balls about it. And it was hilarious. And the chemistry was there, and the jokes and everything else. And that or the next one was the last time I've ever talked to Anthony. And I'm like, we were on to keeping the O&A brand together. You know, it wasn't going to be the same old. It was going to definitely be different, but there was definitely something there. And people were like, why is he hating on you again? And I finally had to say to everybody, I don't know, because the last time we were talking, everything was fine. And I know they were trying to get me over to where his company or whatever. And I realized it wasn't right for me. So I turned down a really nice offer, which is weird because if I suck so much, why are you offering me such a amazing deal? But I said no. The time wasn't right as far as doing something full time again. And I was working with Carl and Sherrod and Vic, and that was really working. And I wanted to see where that could go, and then maybe also do something with Anthony a little bit on the side here. And I guess that's the reason that he decided he had to hate me more. And I'm just like, I can't keep up with this shit. There was no reason to hate me again. We were actually mending, some bridges there and some fences.
No, I remember those times. I remember you filming at their studio.
Yeah.
Like you were like checking it out. I remember that. And like, I remember being like, oh, maybe something will happen here.
Yeah.
And then it's like you go on Twitter and it's like, oh, nothing is going to happen. Clearly.
Yeah.
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 For no reason. It's just, I don't know. Maybe there's some mental illness there. I don't know.
Well, I'll get into that another day, but it's just, and then it's, I guess, the politics angle, because I'm not a massive Trump supporter. So like his camp attacks me on my politics. It's like, my guys aren't attacking you on your politics. We don't give a fuck. We just want to be left alone. Supposedly I'm a libtard and a snowflake and a dumb and I lean more Republican, believe it or not, because I hate how much taxes I pay. I hate cancel culture. But then there's some stuff that the left does that I like. So I pick and choose from both categories. That doesn't make me a lefty. Jesus.
I actually recently took a quiz online to see where you lie, like left or right.
Yeah.
And I'm like right down the middle.
Yeah. That's where
I was actually surprised by it, because I thought I would lean a little more right than left. I knew I'd be close to center.
Yeah.
But I was right in the center.
Yeah. And I think that's where everyone should be. For real.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the answer is always in the middle, but we'll never get to the middle, because in this climate, it's like you got to win at all costs. Your team's got to win at all costs. It's all or nothing.
Well, look at Trump now. Like, I voted for the guy twice, and I like the guy. I thought he was doing a good job, but it's like embarrassing now.
Yeah,
I wish somebody would just be like, you lost.
Yeah,
just move on.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing. Like, and then there's people that are still like going to rallies for him, and it's like, dude, it's enough already. Like, let's move on.
They're starting to fall off because he just didn't handle this well at all. And I always knew that some of his true colors would be shown when his back was against the wall like this. And certainly it's happening. He is a pouting.
Oh yeah, like he's definitely sitting there right now, just pissed, and like he'll just like, I think it makes him feel better to just like every once in a while just tweet out like, I won, like in all caps,
right.
And it's like, no, you didn't,
right.
and I voted for the guy. I like the guy.
Yeah.
Like I had a Trump flag. I didn't put it on my truck, but I had a flag. It's
so easy to trigger people, because I'll take a Trump tweet and I'll just go K or good for you. He'll tweet out like, I won the election, by a landslide. I'll go, good for you, buddy. And then everyone comes after me. I'm like, it's stupid. Twitter gives it, it's a garbage place.
I have the same reaction to his tweets that I have to like anytime my little one says anything. I'm like, good job, good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing.
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, you did pee on the potty. Great job.
And then people just furious. You could tell they're red in the face as they're tweeting me. They're like, you're not a patriot. You're a dumb. I'm like, oh my God, this is Twitter. No. Like, I stopped taking Twitter seriously many, many years ago. I explain and I explain it, and I'll explain it every single time. Twitter is the equivalent of going into a gas station bathroom, bending all the way over, and spraying liquid diarrhea on the wall. That's Twitter. That's all it is. It's where everyone takes out their mental illness on others.
I agree. I am very inactive on Twitter, like within the past 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Because of that, it's insane.
Right.
And I'll check in on Twitter every once in a while. Like I'll see what's going on, but I deleted the app off my phone for a year.
Yeah.
I was just I was just done with it.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. You go on there now and it's just the same old shit. There's Trump. I won. And then somebody retweets him and they're like, "We're here for you, Trump." And it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, Twitter was important as far as promoting a radio show or a podcast or whatever.
Right.
I don't believe that anymore. My numbers on Twitter actually have grown a lot in the last 4 or 5 months, incredibly so. And I think it's because I just fuck with it now. People think that I'm being serious with my political points and stuff, and maybe certainly some of the stuff I tweet I do believe in. But then a lot of times I'm just simply going, this will get everyone going. I'll tweet stuff, Pat. I will tweet something that I know will get people going for the day. I'll put my phone in my pocket, or I'll download a podcast or some book I want to listen to, and then I'll go fish and play with my kids for the day, and I'll come back and go, they're still fighting over this dumb tweet I put out right before I went fishing. That's what I use it for at this point, because now I'm like, you know what? Do an extra live stream today or an extra live stream this week instead of sitting there on Twitter just spinning and looking at all the garbage on it.
And people will never they'll never realize that you're doing that on purpose. And you're going out and you're living your life and you're enjoying yourself, and they're still sitting there with their phone pissed off at what you said 5 hours ago.
Oh yeah. And politically, I just don't believe in either side. I just don't believe in it. I wish I did. I wish I could wake up and there was a politician that came around where I'm like, this guy, oh my God, now I understand being a Trumper. Now I get it. I understand those people to a certain extent. They really, really believe that someone like Trump could make their lives so much better. But it's been my experience my entire life that a president did not make my life better or worse. I never saw anything significantly different. And maybe that's because of the career I chose, being an entertainer. So I'm not belittling certainly the union workers and the blue collar guys and other people that certainly do count on a politician to make a difference. But my experience has been that these guys barely move the needle either way in the end.
Yeah. The only difference that Trump ever made for me, speaking as a union worker and a blue collar guy, his tax plan made my paycheck go up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that is legitimately the only real difference that I've ever seen in any president in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And it was I was happy about it. It was but it wasn't anything too significant. It was beer money.
Right.
It wasn't going to make or break anything, but it was nice. It was an actual physical thing that I saw that changed because of him.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, and for that alone, I was like, all right, that guy's got my vote.
Yeah.
It didn't take much for me, but I also am a fan of how good he was at shit talking.
Oh,
and
God.
he just said whatever he wanted, and it was ridiculously entertaining.
Yeah.
But I never took it to the level of people are obsessed with him.
Yeah.
And I never took it to that level, ever. I thought that was crazy from moment one.
I'm kind of bummed he's going away because he made it so exciting for the last 5 years. What crazy thing did Trump say? Not today, this hour. That guy was going viral with something new multiple times a day, day after day. You know how amazing that is? Oh, my God. He would come up with the nicknames. He was just a complete and utter asshole, and that part of him I loved because I don't believe in politics in general, so I loved how he was calling out everybody. I really did.
Right.
But then the whole lack of empathy started kicking in. I'm like, this guy's just a fucking asshole, though. He don't give a fuck about anybody. If someone benefits from a Trump presidency, that's great, but that's not his goal. His goal is to feed his ego and all his rich friends, and then if it turns out that the average Joe gets something out of it, so be it, But with Trump going away, I'm kind of bummed because Biden was on the other day doing a press conference, and I'm like, boring. And I watched.
Oh, yeah.
I watched for 5 or 10 minutes. It was a lot of the same political sound bites you've heard a million times in your life. And I'm like, oh my God. And I turned it off. But with Trump, you watched every minute because you're like, you don't know when this guy's just going to be a fucking raving lunatic, you know?
I remember talking. My wife is so out of politics that it's like she couldn't give a shit at all. And I remember sitting there talking to her, and she'd be like, well, growing up, I don't even remember really who was president. And I thought about it too. I was like, when I grew up with Bush Senior and then Clinton with Monica Lewinsky, like I thought that was like the most insane thing that had ever happened.
Oh yeah.
And then Trump comes along, and he's like, "Oh, watch this shit."
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Hold my beer, as the kids say.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else you want to say from that time in your life?
Well, I wanted to mention. You remember when I did for my dad's 60th birthday? I came back.
Are you kidding me? It was a Thanksgiving Day show. I'm trying to remember what the contest was. Eating.
It was at the Hard Rock. It was the mashed potato eating contest.
Yeah, mashed potato eating contest. Thank you.
I was just there because you guys actually happened to hold the show on my dad's birthday.
Oh, and you guys showed. Right, you showed up. Okay.
Yeah, no, and this was like at the time when I was like letting go of how pissed I was at everything.
Yeah.
And I remember I reached out to Eric and he got me in. And then I remember he's like, Opie wants to know if you'll do anything for the show. And I said, doing it for the show is like literally in my DNA. So let me know what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you guys, they were having a mashed potato eating contest.
Yeah.
And it was like, and you know, it was a good time, but I remember being like that, like those old wheels started working in my head. I was like, I know how I can make this better.
Right.
You know, and I was like, and you guys had a communal puke bowl where everybody was throwing up into the same bowl.
Yep.
And I said I wanted to do a birthday toast for my dad's 60th birthday. And I walked out on stage and I just took a full coffee cup full of that puke and I just chugged it.
Wait, he's got a cup. No, that's the mashed potato puke. That's the mashed potato puke. No, that's mashed potato puke. No, he just took a scoop of the mashed potato puke. No! For dad! Oh my God!
You guys hired Troy, not me.
Oh, that was incredible. That was a good time. And one other thing I wanted to mention was, like you were talking about the fan interaction and how much fun that used to be. And like we used to get away with stuff that you couldn't do now.
Yeah.
And do you remember the Money Honey contest?
Was that the one where they had to collect money and put it in their vaginas?
No. I mean, that's probably one thing you did do, but no.
Yes,
this one was the Money Honey contest was because like I remember Steve. At that time, I was like kind of like quote unquote head intern, and Steve knew that like I came from a background that like I knew how to do stuff.
Yeah.
So he tasked me with completely tarping off the studio.
Yeah.
Like that whole back area. And I remember I spent the entire first half of the morning tarping off the entire studio, and we had girls come in naked, and we covered them in honey.
Oh, and
they rolled around in money.
Yes. Okay. Right.
And it was like insane. Like it was like. I just remember like thinking about it now, like you would never be able to do that.
No.
And the reason I brought it up is because like you were talking about how like I used to be like really pissed off, and I remember like Steve or somebody handed me a box of Rice Krispies, and he's like, go ahead and toss them on the girls.
Yeah.
It'll stick to them. And I was like, all right. And I started like Roger Clemens fastballing handfuls of Rice Krispies. And these girls, like, I remember, like, it's all chaos, and everybody's being loud, and they're like, ow, ow, and literally the whole show stops, and they're like, you need to relax, you're like a serial killer.
Right. And then Steve,
that was so much fun.
And then Steve would be in the corner just giggling, like he had that giggle about him.
Oh yeah, he knew because he, at the time I hated women, and he probably did too. So I was just like, I was just out to punish him.
Right. Well, I'm here to say that all the women left very, very happy that day with a lot of cash in their pockets.
Oh, yeah. That was so much fun. That was when you could do stuff like that. And then that lady drank too much water trying to get a Nintendo, and she died. It was over.
Yeah, that wasn't on our show, but yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
No, that definitely got a lot of lawyers very, very nervous. I think we were lucky. The amount of stuff and craziness we did, we never really had any major incidences happen.
Well, do you remember the time when you guys were talking about when you were at NEW and you were putting staples from a staple gun through a newspaper?
Oh yeah.
And you were doing the staple gun challenge.
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm an idiot, and I remember being like, I could beat that.
Yeah.
And I put a staple in my forehead.
Yes.
Oh, you remember that?
100%.
And then
I remember pretty much all the stuff you did. Yeah, we thought we were hot shit because we had like the daily newspaper, and the bit was with a staple gun. We did it through the paper into our skin, and then we had to keep taking pages away until somebody would tap out. But even in the end, there was still enough newspaper between my leg and the skin, but it still hurt a lot. And you're like, fuck that. Yeah. And like, I remember you guys doing that back in the day. Well, I want to do the staple gun challenge. And I think we were all looking around for a newspaper, and you're like, I don't need any fucking newspaper. You took the staple gun, bam, right to the middle of your forehead.
Well, what I did, first I did it in my chest.
Yeah.
And then I stapled my balls to my leg.
That I don't remember.
No, I remember I did that. I stapled my balls to my leg.
I believe you,
but
I don't
only
remember.
Time I ever.
Yeah.
It was the first and only time I ever did that, and I remember immediately regretting it because it hurt a lot more than I thought it was.
Right.
And then I pulled that out, and then they were like, everybody was like reacting, and then I said, "Fuck it," and I just straightened the forehead.
Yeah.
And I immediately got an egg on my forehead.
Right.
Like it blew up immediately, and then I trusted the surgeon Steve C to get it out of my head, And I remember he's taking a pair of pliers and he's just pulling on the staple as hard as he could. And it separated the skin between my forehead and my skull.
Yeah.
And it filled with fluid, and I had like a softball on my head.
Oh my God.
And I had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And they had to drain it. And I just remember being like, well, I'm an idiot.
And there's the forehead shot your dad was supposed to do back in the day. Dude.
I'm not looking.
Oh my God. Pull those out. Did that go into your brain?
No. It can't go into
Did it go in your
brain.
skull?
You can't get it out.
Oh, dude.
Oh, my God. Get it
Did you hear it go click? Is that still in?
Yeah.
Dude, it's in your skull.
I'm trying to pull it. I can't get it out.
Oh my! What?
Listen to him.
Get a staple remover.
Listen to him try to pull it out. Listen.
Oh man! Are you kidding me?
You got it out? No.
I'm not looking.
Get it out.
Dude,
You have a staple in your head.
He's panicking. No, man.
that is a staple.
Is it out of his skull?
Oh, these are long staples.
I didn't know that.
What did you do?
Oh, you idiot.
Is it out of your skull?
No.
No, it's deep in there.
His cheek is.
Look at the blood. Look at the blood pouring.
Those are huge.
Pliers.
from his
That
freaking
Steve's
cheek.
pulling it out with pliers.
Wait, I want to hear this on the air.
You okay? You pull straight out.
Oh my God! I just heard skin rip.
Dude, this is bad.
Am I horribly disfigured for life?
Dude, I really don't want. I don't want to tear the flesh too much.
Oh my! Look at his face.
Oh my God! It's bumping up.
Yeah.
It made a big bump.
Oh my God! You gotta.
Alcohol stuff.
That's
Dude, it's pouring blood now.
And it made a big bump.
I know.
You look like you were in a fight. How about you go to the hospital?
It's just swelled up.
His face is just
You-
pouring blood.
You friggin' idiot.
Why would you do that?
He goes, "Oh, they're long staples. It's stuck in his skull."
That staple could have been like 3 inches long and he wouldn't have known, and it would have just gone right in. Thank God the front of the skull is pretty thick.
What is Steve saying in there?
Did you get it?
What's the deal, Steve?
All right, you know when you actually use a staple for what it's designed to use and it bends outward?
Yeah.
That's what it did when it hit his skull. And the edges of the staple have spread.
Oh,
so I can't get it.
my
God.
Oh, so it didn't go into his skull, but it like barbed out.
Barbed
Under
thank
the
you.
skin.
It barbed out under the skin, so if I yank, I'm going to tear a whole bunch of flesh. That's
Are we allowing Steve with 2 loop earrings to do surgery? Get the doctor to get it out.
I remember 2 things that we came close to Well, one's just funny and one was really scary. So when we were at NEW, we did that 55-gallon drum challenge where we put these naked girls in these giant drums, and then we would just dump all sorts of stuff into the drums. And we learned that the hissing cockroaches were the one thing that would freak these girls out, going back to the beginning of our conversation. And we would drop the hissing cockroaches in with everything else, just everything we could find. We would just pour in there, all sorts of disgusting stuff. And then we started putting animals in there. And one was the hissing cockroach. I do believe we started putting snakes in there, if I remember correctly, because I remember the sound of the drums as the tail is just whipping around, and the girls would scream like, "Get me out of here!"
Yeah. No, I vividly remember it was snakes. And then you got to remember that at the time I'm listening to that and I'm in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And I'm loving every single second of it. So you wonder why I was a little twisted by the time I got to you.
Exactly. You know? But so, and then, the last girl that came out of the drums won the contest. They probably won like nothing really of significance. I remember a big girl showed up and we had those giant green, like plastic garbage pails that landscapers use.
Yeah.
Every other girl was in a normal 55-gallon drum, basically, and we had to do a makeshift and get 2 of those giant landscaping green garbage pails, because we wanted to be all inclusive, I guess. And she really wanted to do the contest, but she couldn't fit in the drums we had, so we had somebody run out and get these giant things so we could fit her in, so she could be part of the contest. But anyway, so we did the 55-gallon drum challenge, and we threw crickets in, and this beautiful, I remember she was beautiful, naked girl, she's in there, and all of a sudden she started screaming. I'm like, oh, I guess she wants to get out, but a cricket or a bug went up her ear, and she was in a lot of pain. So we had to pull her out of the drum. We had to call 911 or the paramedics, or we had paramedics standing by, I don't remember now. And she was a bloody mess from all the blood. We would have animal guts and just terrible stuff we would pour into this drum. So when she came out and she was naked, she had a lot of red on her, like she just got, like she was just in a car accident, let's say. And I remember they dragged her out of the building with just a little blanket on her, but you could tell she was still naked and her hair's matted with red and all this other garbage. And I remember the looks of everybody as we're dragging her out of the building to make sure she's okay. They had to send her to the hospital, but that was more funny than not. The one day that was really, really scary was the cinnamon challenge that E-Rock did.
Oh, yeah.
Where he inhaled cinnamon and he legit could not breathe. And I remember the silence in the studio. That's when everyone was absolutely on the same page going, oh, my God, are we about to watch someone die? And he's just gasping, trying to get air, just trying. And I remember to this day how much he was suffering through that. And that was really, really scary. And he definitely ended up going to the hospital and all that. And thank God, obviously,
I remember
everything worked out.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
E-Rock is a
Smoke is coming out of him. What is it? How was it? That old wrestler. Water, you asshole.
Holy shit, a whole cloud came out. Drink a little water.
Water.
Breathe slow.
Through your nose, fuckface.
All right?
He's cute. Breathe water.
This is the most horrible thing I've ever seen.
He's gonna drink water.
Drink water.
Drink water.
Drink a little water.
Something just came out of his forehead. You have to breathe like you're giving birth. Like that.
Dude, that was fucking bad. That's cinnamon. All right, you're okay. Well, once again, it doesn't work. You can't do that. You can't eat.
Wait, before we just really try.
Shut the fuck up. Yes, he did.
I remember listening to that because that was right around the time I started to come back in.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to that, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, well, that would have been me. So I'm pretty happy that it's not
Oh,
me.
my God. And then it turns out I think people ended up dying. That cinnamon challenge became a viral sensation for a little while. What was it? I think they said you can't eat a tablespoon of cinnamon or something like that, and somehow something went wrong and he breathed it in by accident.
Well, that's what happens. It's like apparently it's physically impossible to eat that much cinnamon at once.
Yeah.
So when you put the spoon in, it immediately like blocks everything, and then you open your mouth to breathe, and you just inhale that dust.
Wow.
And it just like you said, I'm pretty sure it kills people.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, remember when I got kicked in the balls like 6 times?
100%.
Like, that was I almost married that girl. I'm a fucking idiot.
Was she the one that really liked to be rough with you? Was she the Russian one?
Yeah, she was the Russian girl, and she really liked to be really, really rough. And at the time, I was in the headspace where I was into it, and she ended up kicking me in the balls, and then it was like, at the time, I was like, I'm in love with you.
Yeah, I remember.
But now,
What's the pain?
Because he's fucked up.
And you like that, right?
Love it.
You want to kick him in the balls now? Yeah, let's do it. All right.
All right, tell me when.
Go.
Like to say them at the
Do it again. Do it again.
Everybody. He's down.
Oh, he's
Punch
down.
in the floor.
He's down.
Holy shit. No way.
There's no effing way anyone can take a shot like that.
There's no
This is the third
effing way
time, too.
anyone could take a shot like that.
I remember she kicked you really hard, and then you fell in love with her instantly, and you guys dated for a little bit here and there. I remember.
yeah, we dated for quite a while, even after I left the show.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, no, we did. Well, and we ended up getting engaged, and then.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what happened. So we were living in this rented house, and I was working landscaping, and I told her that because she didn't have a car or anything like that. Like she was kind of like a useless human being, but I told her, I said, you need to pay the utilities, I'll pay the rent, and then I'm not going to ask you, like where it comes from or whatever. So she said, all right, I'll make it work. And I ended up like kind of figuring out that she was a cam girl in the early days of being a cam girl.
Right.
And like one day I woke up at like 2 a.m. and I heard something, and it's like weird, like mechanical sound. And she was getting fucked by like a dildo machine. And I literally, I swear to God, I was like, and I literally looked at her and I was like, this can't go on. Like I can't deal with this.
Right. Oh.
And I was like, that's it. I literally told her, I was like, you got to either quit that or quit me. And then she was like, all right, I'll just move out. I was like, all right, see you later. And then I ended up meeting my wife, and I'm 10 times happier now. It doesn't matter. But I got out of that one.
But you lost to a mechanical dildo, basically? Electric dildo?
I guess so. I guess so, with a crowd of people watching, giving her like $1 a minute or whatever.
So you guys were living together, and she would go in the other room, and you didn't know at first?
Well, yeah. Well, I knew she liked staying up late, so I would go to bed because I had work in the morning, and then like I didn't know what she did all night.
But where'd
then like and I'd wake up. I woke up one time to go take a leak, and I heard this sound. I'm like, "What the?" And I caught it. I caught the whole thing.
Were you just taking a peek for a while and whacking off, or did you just march? Or did you just march in?
To be completely honest with you, it was such a shock. Like I thought I was still dreaming.
Yeah.
Like it was the last thing you're going to expect. It's like walking in your living room and seeing Bigfoot.
Right.
Like it's just the last thing you're going to expect.
Where the fuck was she hiding the device?
Well, she had this we had 3-bedroom house, and it was just like one of the bedrooms was like a sitting room, and she just would like set it up there, and I guess keep it in the closet. And like I never went in there because I didn't, I had nothing in there.
Yeah.
So she just managed to hide it from me.
How big was it?
I'll tell you what, the machine was bigger than I expected it because it was like strapped to a chair.
Right.
And it took up the whole part of the chair, the whole sitting part of the chair.
Wow.
And then this little rod stuck out like a gear shifter.
Yeah.
And it had this like threaded dildo on there. Like I mean, if I wasn't so pissed, I'd be impressed. Just the engineering aspect of it was impressive.
Right. That's unbelievable, man. That's crazy.
But I'm glad it happened because then I met my wife, and now here I am, and I'm having a good time. Yeah, my wife is a great person, and I credit my wife with everything that I am today.
Beautiful.
So she's the best.
I get that more than you know, brother. I got one last question. I got one last question for you. Speaking of being a father, what was your first thought when your kid was born?
I'll tell you. You know what's crazy is my daughter was born premature.
Okay.
She was a couple weeks early, and I was standing above and kind of behind my wife when she was born.
Yeah.
And like I see her coming out of my wife. My wife's gonna kill me. I see her coming out of my life.
Yeah.
And I just remember like not understanding what I was looking at.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
yes.
my brain could not register what I was seeing.
Yes.
And she was facing down. So I just saw with the back of her head, and it was like seeing an alien.
Yes.
Like I didn't understand. And then as funny as it is, like her ear popped out.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it made sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I'm looking at. And then she comes out and they like take her immediately and they clean her up. And everybody talks about that, there's that feeling you get and nobody can describe it. And nobody, they'll say, you understand when you have it. And I remember like tending to my wife after the baby was born. And then somebody says to me, Dad, do you want to hold her?
Right.
And it was the first time anybody ever called me Dad.
Right.
And I turned around and I said, more than anything in the world.
Wow.
And then I held her and then I got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, that's it. And
Yeah.
it's funny because I just got this like feeling immediately that I would kill anybody in the room.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean when
Yeah.
I say that? Like, I was like, I'll murder everybody in here with my bare hands. I don't care.
Oh, that's what
Like,
Brewer, no, Brewer taught me
Yeah.
that. He goes, when you become a father, you'll understand that you can murder somebody. You
Oh, yeah,
fully
no,
understand that
absolutely.
you're capable of murdering another human being. And
instantly.
I sort of laughed at that until I became a father. And I remember thinking about Brewer. I'm like, God, he's so right. When my son was born, similar to you, he pops out. And my first thought was, I looked around the room and I was like, could someone explain where this little human being just came from? Now, I understand the biology of it. My wife was pregnant 9 months. It's time to give birth. But no, I looked around like, where the fuck did this little human being come from? Because it seemed like it was just extending its life. It was extending its soul, or it's hard to explain. But I'm like, I was so blown away. I'm like, wait, what? What?
No, and all of a sudden, there's just another person in that room.
Yeah,
and it's really weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, because when he was kicking, when he was in my, my wife's belly and all that, I understand that connection and all that. But when he was officially born, I'm like, wait, what? I'm looking around like, no. Someone's got to explain what's going on here. All of a sudden, he takes his first breath, and now he's just a human being outside the mom. So bizarre, man. So fucking weird.
No, it's the weirdest thing ever. And I remember I had these like really weird thoughts in like the first minute of my daughter's life. Like they take her, and like I said, she was premature, so she was a little on the small side.
Yeah.
And I remember immediately being like, we got to get her a social security number.
Yeah.
Like it was like these like weird like off the wall thoughts I was having, and it was like these things I did not prepare myself for at all. Like it was the weirdest feeling.
Did you watch the birthing film? Did you go to the birth classes? No. All right.
So, no. You know what I did? The only thing I did was I got the male version of What to Expect When You're Expecting, the book. And I read that book. That was
okay. So we went to a couple classes just to see what to expect and whatever. And it was easy. It was like once a week. It was maybe like 4 weeks. I don't know, something like that. But it came to the film where they basically show a woman giving birth, so you could see what you could expect, And so we're all in this room, and all the women, they show the film really late, meaning all the women in this room are like really close to 9 months, if not a little over 9 months. I mean, they could have had a baby in that room, basically. Really, really close. And the instructor, who basically, when she was talking about having kids and stuff, basically said, I don't know why you'd want to do it. I'm single. And she would explain why it's stupid to be a parent and why she loves her single life and her dog. I'm like, God, why is this woman teaching this class? But anyway, so they go, we're going to show the film of this woman, giving birth. And if anyone's squeamish, please raise your hand. You could leave for this part of the class. And I'm looking around the room like, which fucking asshole is going to raise their hand, right? There was a guy that raised his hand as his wife is easily 9+ months pregnant. I remember her really struggling like, oh my God, this lady's definitely going to have a baby any hour at this point. This weaselly dude raises his fucking hand and makes it about him, and they escort him out of the room so he didn't have to see this film of a woman giving birth to a child. I was like, what a piece of shit. Wouldn't you just sit there? Wouldn't you just sit there if you were a pussy in that regard? Wouldn't you just like not want to admit it to everybody, especially a room filled with pregnant ladies, and maybe sit there and close your eyes during it or something?
I mean, at the very least, even if I was super squeamish, you know how pissed off my wife would be at me?
Of course.
If I left?
Of course.
Forget that. I would just get through it. What a pussy.
Oh, no. The pregnant woman, I remember being very much an enabler. Like, yeah, it's okay. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. I'll be out in about 10 or 15 minutes, after I see what I'm going to go through.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That guy probably waited in the waiting room.
Probably. Probably.
Yeah, for the actual birth. That's crazy.
Yeah. But, all right, Pat. You gave me more than enough time, man. You're awesome. It was great to catch up with you. We're definitely going to do this again. Next time we'll do it on Facebook Live or something. So, we'll both be on camera.
All right, just real quick, just one last thing I wanted to tell you. I wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to work for you guys because, regardless of how it ended and how what it amounted to and whatever, you definitely saw potential in me, and I'll forever be grateful for it. And I appreciate the experience, and it was really an amazingly good way to spend your 20s, and I really appreciate it.
Wow. Jesus, dude. Thank you so much. That's all.
I'm forever indebted to you, and I will always support whatever you do because I appreciate what you did for me.
I'm not even joking. I got slight tears in my eyes because you have no idea, dude. The stuff I've done for a lot of people over the years, and to just see some of these people trashing me because it's hip to do so and this and that. I'm like, you're just not a human being. It's fucking nuts, man. So
people don't get it.
I really appreciate that a lot.
No, I appreciate you, and I just. Like I said, it was, what a way to spend your 20s. Like, you could have easily just, let me do the baby bird and then be like, oh, yeah, you're hired. And then just been like, we're not hiring that guy. Like, you could have easily done that. And, a lot of people probably would have.
No.
So,
no.
Appreciate it.
In a selfish way, I got to say this in a selfish way, guys like you, Pat, don't come along often. So I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? No, I'm being serious. I'm not stupid. I'm like, holy shit. The balls on this guy. He'll literally do anything for this radio show. It was amazing to watch because I thought I had balls, and every once in a while I would dip into some of these things, but nothing like what you did for us. Oh my God, no, man. I saw such a unique talent in you because not only did you do these crazy stuff, you were a showman while you were doing it.
Yeah, I guess I tried.
No,
I tried to make it interesting.
Yeah, you knew how to entertain instead of just do it. Which is a subtle thing, but it's I noticed all that shit. So, all right, we're babbling. Pat Duffy, thank you so much. Anything you want to promote, Pat?
No, I'm literally still off the grid. I don't have anything.
That's beautiful.
My Instagram.
Yeah.
I guess my Instagram is Pat Effin Duffy.
Yeah.
PATFNDUFFY.
Yeah.
By all means, add to my 800 followers to see pictures of my kids.
I know.
That's about all I got.
I see your stuff and I just laugh. I'm like, how is this the same guy?
No, trust me, he's still there. It comes out occasionally.
Oh, I get it. I'm still the same guy. I still could get my claws out. But you live long enough. You're supposed to just move forward. Learn from your past and try to do things differently. Like I always say, I had a weird fucking childhood, so my goal is to fuck up my kids in a new way. That's all you can do. Don't fuck them up in the same. Don't fuck them up in the same way. That's my advice today.
Yep. That's the best way to do it, man.
All right, Pat. I'll see you on the Facebook Live. Thank you so much, buddy.
Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.